Okay guys, welcome back. My wife pointed out to me that we do not have a video on how you become certified organic. So I am going to try and make a little short video describing some of the steps. It will not be all of the steps you need to know. Every certifier will have a different, or they're similar set of steps, but there will be different nuances between the different certifiers. So basically, OCA, we did an exercise a couple of years ago, and that exercise was 6 steps to certification. So the first step is to contact the certifier, in this case OCA. The second step is for you to do research. You need to become familiar with the National Organic Standard. You can go to the USDA website. You can find the National Organic Standard. Anyway, if you're going to become certified organic, you have to be familiar with the National Organic Standard. And when you fill out an OSP, incidentally, that is one of the questions. Do you have a copy of the National Organic Standard, and are you familiar with it? Third step is you have to submit paperwork, and I have some of that paperwork on the table in front of me. I will describe that real briefly. Then your certification agency will get back to you. Technically, they call the certification agency an ACA. That stands for an accredited certifying agent. Then they will send an inspection once they deem that your paperwork is intact. From that inspection, issues may arise. You'll have to address those issues, but your file will be reviewed, and then finally a decision will be made by the certifier whether you are certified. So one of the documents I wanted to show you is an OSP. So every organic farmer in the United States of America, and doesn't matter which certifier you go through, you're required to have an OSP. That's this stack of paper here. And basically it is questions about, it's a snapshot of your operation completely from beginning to end. The principle behind organic certification is that what is produced can be traced from the exact point that it is produced to when it's finally consumed. There is an audit trail that follows that product back. So technically, when you buy an organic product in a store, it will have a lot number on it. And it would be possible to do a trace back from that lot number on that individual. Let's say it's a loaf of bread at your local store. You buy a loaf of organic bread, it has a lot number. You should be able to trace that lot number all the way back to the individual field on my farm where wheat was produced. And you should be able to see all the steps that it took all the way through. So it's a traceability thing. But here's a copy of our organic certificate. That is the piece of paper that you're working towards. It can seem hard to get, but you can do it. It is possible. Another thing I want to show you was OMRI. So the Organic Materials Review Institute, I think is what that stands for. They review ingredients used in organic production, and all of this is online. You can go to omri.org online and get access to these lists, but these are lists of allowed materials that are used in organic production. What I have here is a paper copy from 2017, and so that is a paper copy of the materials used. It may not be complete. When I have a question on an OMRI, on an input, it's easy for me to jump on their website, type in either the product name or the description, and go directly to it and find out real quick whether it's approved. The last piece of paper is not a piece of paper, it's a whole bunch of paper. So this is a field history log. And so in this log, I keep track of my fields, and as part of the organic requirements, you're required to track things like planting rates, dates, harvest dates. You're required to track the variety, where the seed came from, any inputs that you would use on the ground. If you would lime the ground, that would be recorded here. Another part of this field activity log are bin logs. So when you harvest something, you obviously have to note the harvest. You have to note where the harvest went, into what bin, etc. And then finally, there will be sales documentation that go with it, because remember what I said, you have to be able, the whole principle behind organic was that you could track production from the field all the way to the finished product. So part of that, as a farmer and as a producer, I have to track the field, I have to track the bin, and then I have to track the sales, who I sold to, how much I sold, etc. Okay guys, so once a year you have to renew your OSP. So that means that if there were changes in your operation, say that you bought more land, say that you changed your crop rotation, say you lost land, if there was a change in your operation or your management, you have to update your OSP. And so you submit a renewed OSP. You go through an annual inspection. If there are any concerns, your certifier relays them to you either before the inspection. You get a chance to correct them, and at the end of the year you are issued a new certificate. You get a new certificate every year. Under the NOP rules, once you are certified organic, you are not decertified until your certification agent tells you so. And so there is, there is a concept of ongoing certification. But every year you are required to update your OSP and go through another inspection and get a new certificate. So that was not conclusive by far, and I'm sure there are people that will do this better, but that was a little snapshot of how you get certified organic.